everybody. Welcome to Core Time. We are truly excited to have another exciting episode today. We are going to have a great guest. We'll talk about that a little bit later on. But just off the bat, really excited to have you all come and be a part of our podcast that we do. Why are we doing this? We do this because it gives us a good platform to speak about our products and not just that, but bring good information, ideas, background, philosophy around what we do. We'd be at a lot of events and people would come up and say, I just don't know enough about your brand and I can't really tell enough from the website or from other social media platforms. Why don't you tell me more about it? So we said, all right, this podcast format would be a good way to do it. And, tell you more about our history and our background. Stephen can tell a little bit about some of our history. Oh, by the way, I'm sorry, I didn't even introduce myself. I'm Kareem. This is the man, the myth, the legend. Go on, Steve. Why don't you tell us a little bit about our background here?
I mean, I'm beginning to sound like a broken record, but that's really the reason that keeps this all going. It started in a bar. Again, with that Mickey Mouse watch on the bartender's wrist. Wanted to deal with Mickey holding the switchblade hand, decided we don't need Mickey Mouse, we'll do this on our own. That's where the switchblade hands came from. 7 sins instead of the 7 days of the week. And, we kind of took it from there. When we first started out, we were at Art Basel. We hooked up with Aladdin, the graffiti artist down there, and he was doing paintings based on each sin. And as he was painting, we had people coming in and watching, and we were asking them, not only what sin do they embrace, but how do you relate to the sin each day? And that's kind of about how we got started and why we did it. With that, we changed the name. After we did the 7 Sins Watch, we started doing Fury, and we were like, well, you know what? We were originally called Sharp Brothers, and to me, apropos for the switchblade hands, but it was like maybe it's a little limiting. So let's change the name. We came up with Core timepieces, and that's kind of where we are today. We have new watches coming out, which I'm kind of excited about. I'll just do that.
Oh man, that was a quick reveal. I can't believe you did that. I can't believe you just did that. Real quick, I was going to say about the history. I don't know if you remember, but we also, based upon community and community building, we did a Kickstarter campaign.
That's right.
I tend to forget about that. I just started remembering that as you were saying, but that was the first time where we really started, I guess, having some level of like a community response. And we got some great feedback and interesting, background. And we sold out. We sold out of our Kickstarter campaign, which was great, which then was also a good lead up to everything we've done. But, we're going to continue to bring out really unique products. That's going to be something that we'll do at the show, on this show. And at the same time, too, we'll talk about, watches we're interested in. We'll get to that in a minute, Steven. Get excited about this. We'll get to that in 1 second. Wrist check, real quick. I think it's always important to talk about what we got on our wrist. Oftentimes, we're going to be wearing our Core watches. Except when it gets taken from you. Let me give you a quick little back. Not taken. Except for when you give it to someone as a gift, is really the right way to say it. So yes. I was in LA, and I was there for the Grammys, I think it was, and having breakfast at the Beverly Hilton. And I was wearing, I think, my 7 Sins, and Flavor Flav was there. And he is the master, obviously wearing his big clock and everything. And I love Flavor Flav. He's from New York. We live in New York.
911 is a joke.
And we just hit it off. We were having a conversation, and he liked the watch, and I gave it to him. It was good for obviously the reason that he ended up wearing it during the weekend, and he's worn it in different places. Stephen may post a couple pictures and so on, but I didn't have a watch anymore, and that is like me not having air. I need to have a watch on my wrist. I absolutely have to at all times.
Oh, that's right. I remember you texted me with the picture of that. I'm like, why is he buying that watch?
So I had to run out, and I bought a Tudor root beer on leather, which I don't usually ever wear. I love the watch. It's very, very cool and sharp. And I love the brand. I'm really a big fan of Tudor. I take a lot of inspiration from their materials and their manufacturing capabilities. They really do a very high quality, robust watch at a very affordable price. So I was excited to pick up this Tudor root beer that I wore for the rest of that time, but also excited that Flavor Flav is wearing our watch and wearing it around at events, and we see it out on Instagram, which is pretty cool. Have to have him on the show one time. Definitely, Flav. We're gonna have to have you as a guest on the show sometime for sure, and I'd like to have you on there. What about you?
I grew up in the neighborhood next to where he grew up, and I was a huge Public Enemy fan. So when you sent me that picture, I was like, what the fuck?
Yeah, things in LA happen. They happen. Yeah. What do you got on your wrist over here?
I'm wearing the black gold, Seven Sins black gold. It was our gold accented watch that we did based on the Seven Sins. We did it. The first Seven Sins that we did was stainless steel, PVD coated. We took it a little bit further, and we did gold accented. So the gold accented bezel, the indices. We put it on a
Milanese.
Milanese or
Milanese
mesh.
Well, yeah, I guess you're right. It's more a mesh. You're right.
It's a mesh style. I'm sorry, a mesh bracelet. So yeah, when I want to be a little fancy, I guess I put this on. Though I do wear. I was wearing it the other day when I was cutting the
gardening.
grass.
It's a nice watch. Yeah. I do like it.
Yeah. I couldn't wait.
As is customary, Stephen has jumped ahead to have a quick toast here. We're drinking some Woodford Reserve, it looks like today, and that's definitely a nice bourbon right down the middle. In general, we're just excited to have you all be tuning in and having a good dialogue with you all. And with that in mind, we're going to have a very special guest who's going to be coming on now, who is Rich Park, and he basically runs the Minutes and Hours show. Previously Microlux. We've attended several of these shows. He's definitely a guru in the space.
Well, Core has attended and you've attended. I haven't attended yet, so I'm excited to attend the Austin show.
Yeah, we're going to be there at the Austin show this coming November. Without further ado, we'd love to bring Rich onto the show. Welcome, Rich.
Yeah, no, it's good to see you. Thank you. Thank you for having me, Kareem. So I'm the founder of Minutes and Hours. So we have minutesandhours.com and our Minutes and Hours watch shows. So that's basically what I do is just work on the website, our online store. We're an online authorized retailer for some brands and the shows. So that's me in a nutshell.
Nice. What got you into watches? Like, what was your first watch? Why are you into them?
So we've had a family business. We haven't had it for a while, but it had watches. So I always grew up around watches from every brand, from Seiko to Rolex to Audemars Piguet. So I've always been around watches. I've always had a watch on my wrist, even the old digital watches, when I was a kid. So I just always had just a real love of watches. And then when I bought my first brand, Seiko, I did an unboxing on YouTube. I just wanted to put that out there, and it did so well. And then I just continued to do more videos on YouTube, and then it just expanded.
Nice.
But I think the first watch was given to me was an Omega, and then the first one that I actually bought with my own money was a Breitling.
All right. Which Breitling? I had a Breitling phase once upon a time.
Yeah, I don't remember the Omega. The Omega was the Constellation. I don't remember the Breitling. I don't remember the Breitling model.
Yeah, I fell out of love with Breitling because of the high polish finish. Every time I would see a little scratch on that thing, it was like someone kicked me. I couldn't deal with it, and that's why in many ways, when it comes down to the difference between, let's say, Rolex or Tudor, I always tend to lean more Tudor because of the matte finishes, because I like to wear my watches and beat them up, and if I see a bunch of scratches when I look down at them, I just lose it. I absolutely lose it.
I know what you mean.
Really? I'm the complete opposite. I mean, yes, I'd like to keep them as crisp and clean and scratch free as possible. To me, that scratch is a sign of something. Oh, I bumped the door. Oh, I fell off the bike, or I don't know.
It's
the
a
wear and tear is kind of nice.
It's a reminder of my stupidity every time I get that little scratch on there. So I absolutely, I can't handle it. I mean, but everybody, to each their own. Rich, tell us a little bit about why you started Minutes and Hours. I mean, we know it as a previous name as well, but why'd you start Minutes and Hours?
Well, yeah, we were formerly Microlux, and when we started in 2019, it was a nice niche that we wanted to fill. Of course, there's Wind Up, and now we're the two biggest watch shows in the U.S. It was a great opportunity to bring both brands and watch enthusiasts and media all together under one roof. But we wanted to do a little bit something different than even the other show was. We didn't want it just to be smaller micro brands or indie brands or boutique brands. We wanted to put the mainstream big brands in there together, and there was a bit of a challenge. I think a lot of people said it can't be done. Some of the bigger, more luxury brands really want to just be together, not have some of the smaller brands in there. But we've proven them wrong now, and they found out that it's a benefit to them. It brings both audiences together, and it's just worked out really nicely. We also wanted to be a little bit different in that we have watch-related activities in addition to the brands that are exhibiting. So we have, like, for example, watch building classes that the guests can build their watch, and then they get to keep the watch that they built. So we wanted to do something different, but that was the goal, is to be another watch show that would bridge the gap from just Wind Up.
Well, having attended that show, it's a great show. I was at the one in Austin, Texas. It's a lot of fun. Ate some really great barbecue when I was there. Had some nice, they had a nice happy hour that happened before, and everybody was really, very, very nice community in general. Everyone had a chance to have nice conversation. There was some good podcasting that was happening at that event, and I really thought it was great. And I came back. Stephen wasn't at that event with me, but I came back and I said, what a great event. You had folks from Red Bar, the different chapters that came out from there, from Austin and from Houston, I think, in different places that had come to. So, you definitely had spread it, nice and wide. So you got a good community from different places that came out there. So I really liked it. I mean, so I guess my question would be, not that it really matters one way or another, but why did you change the name? Why did it kind of go from, why is it now Minutes and Hours, which I like? I think it's a really cool name. Why did it change?
Yeah, first of all, I want to, your background there with the, like, reclaimed wood, that's very Austin-like, since we were speaking about Austin. It just reminds me a lot of how of the look of Austin, look and feel. Coincidentally, right?
Yes.
Yeah. Well, we changed the name because at first, the goal was always to bring mainstream brands and some of the micro brands. I mean, you call them micro brands or boutique brands or independent brands, but we wanted to be more inclusive, because while we started out as more along the lines of micro brands, we've expanded our partner brands to include brands like Christopher Ward or Rado or Hamilton, Seiko, Victorinox. And so it just felt more inclusive to have those brands along with the micro brands. And then we became an online authorized dealer for those brands, so it just felt like the name change was more appropriate and fitting to be more inclusive.
Yeah, no, I like it. I think it's really good, and obviously it also is very much what it is. It's about those minutes and those hours in the day, and how you use them and what you do with them. So we're very, again, truly honored to have you here on the show, and excited to be a part of what's coming up in the future. I know you had Austin. You also have Chicago usually, which is another one. Do you do it in another city too, or is it just those two cities now?
No, we just wrapped Chicago in April, and now we'll have Austin this November, and then Los Angeles in July.
And when's New York City?
We try not to step on toes, but anything's possible. That comes across a lot to us.
Yeah.
For that request. So, we'll see. We try to be respectful, but it's possible.
And what's the date of the one in November in Austin? When's that going to be?
November 16 and 17, and I believe we're going to see you again.
Absolutely. Right? We're going to be there. Make sure you give us a nice booth, front and center.
You were beloved when you were there. It was actually 2022.
Yeah.
The first time we were in Austin, you guys were so beloved. I remember a story about one of your customers who had most of your, if not all of your other core collections, and then he bought the upscale core.
Yep. Yeah, he bought this one, the black gold, actually.
That one, yes. I remember.
That's exactly right. It was the first time that I ever met a super fan. The gentleman came along. He's like, I have every single watch you've ever made. I traveled to come see you, and I want this one. And he literally pointed at the watch and was like, oh my God. I was like,
That's great.
I was so giddy about it, because it's one thing to, make watches and produce them and do your own brands and everything else. And it's a very different thing when you just see it on just like the random person, on the street, or someone who actually travels to come and see what you do. And I mean, although we're big fans of our own products, we support other brands too. I'm always wearing brands that I like to, micro brands and others alike that just give us inspiration or really, good ideas. But no, we're really thrilled to be at the Austin show, and maybe we'll talk later on at a separate point about us doing some of our Core Time podcasts live from the show, which is something we were thinking about maybe doing too, and talk with some other micro brands while we're there, and kind of give an overarching view of the show, live from the show, because we were saying, hey, we may do that.
Yeah, that'd be fun.
Yeah, that'd be a good time.
That's a good idea. Yeah.
Well,
I remember that super fan. How happy he was. You brought a lot of joy to your customers.
Yeah, and he posted it everywhere. Well, the thing is, our customers they're really unique people who are looking for really unique watches, because we're definitely not the cookie cutter brand. We march to our own sort of drum beat, if you want to call it, and we're always looking for the right way to kind of showcase what we do. So great events like the one that you do are exactly that. This kind of a podcast where we can talk about some of the new things we're doing, as well as meet great guests that are in the industry. I mean, that's our focus. That's our goal, to just collaborate and grow as an entire group. So yeah, I mean, why don't you tell to the audience real quick how everybody can kind of find out about Minutes and Hours, what kind of links and social media stuff? Feel free.
Well, our Instagram is Minutes and Hours Watches, or you can go to our website, which is minutesandhours.com, which has our reviews, it has blogs, it has our shop on there, and event information. So you can learn all about us at minutesandhours.com.
Great.
Great.
I got one final question for you. So
you're
familiar with the Seven Sins watch that we do?
Yeah, that was the original. Right?
That was the very first one we did. So we have that one. We have the original Sin, which has the snake engraving on it. But what we like to do is talk to people and ask them what sin that they relate to. Whether it's a sin that they embrace, or it's a sin that they fight with every day and they rebel against it.
Although I don't think it's the intention of the lust, but it might be lust just because of my lust for watches, which is probably not the original intent, but I'll go with lust.
Nice. I love hearing that, because when we do marketing, I tend to stay away from anything that says lust, because people are like, you're sexist. And it's like, well, it's not yes, it's geared towards sex, but you can have a lust for anything. So yeah, that's great to hear.
Your Fury GMT though, the automatic one, it looks really sharp. You have a pink dial too. That looks great. You guys are doing some really great things.
Yeah, that's the Panther Pink right there.
Panther Pink, yeah, that looks great. That looks fantastic. Congratulations.
Thank you. Thanks a lot.
Thank you so much. And I mean, again, we can't thank you enough. We're looking forward to seeing you in Austin, Texas. We'll make sure to go to Rudy's Barbecue and eat a lot of barbecue that's next to the gas station. It's like a thing. If it's not a barbecue place, it's next to a gas station, apparently it's not legitimate. So I'll take you to Rudy's if you've never been there. It's really good. And for everyone out there who's watching Core Time here, please like, follow, subscribe. For more information about our company, we're at coretimepieces.com. and Rich obviously gave his links as well. Please follow and everything that Minutes and Hours is doing. And Rich, again, we can't thank you enough. I'm sure we'll be seeing you very soon. And thank you so much for taking the time with us today.
Thanks, Kareem. Thanks, Steven. I'll talk to you soon.
All right. Thank you, Rich. Appreciate it.
Bye.
Oh my God, that was great talking with Rich. I'm really excited to get to that show in November. It was pretty exciting to hear his first watch, how he got into it. So yeah, like and subscribe. Stay tuned. We're going to be posting these hopefully weekly, bi-weekly, we'll see. But again, thanks again. CoreTimepieces.com, core_timepieces Instagram, and we'll see you.
Thanks, guys.
Cheers.